This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Pleased to welcome into studio NBA legend Ebony Hoffman. What's up, Ebony? Good to see you.
What's going on? How you doing, Mumbai? Nice to be here.
I believe it's your first trip here, and you've only done Delhi thus far. So what are your impressions of Mumbai?
My impressions of Mumbai are fantastic. I mean, Mumbai has everything to offer. The bazaar, the spice market, the food. I mean, what else can you ask for?
Totally. And I believe a little birdie tells me that you had a wonderful time at Her Time to Play, which is at the Central Railway Sports Association ground in Lower Parel. Just tell us about Her Time to Play. What is it at a concept level, and who really showed up, and what kind of time did you have there?
Well, we had about 40 girls that showed up from all over Mumbai, and it's basically an initiative just to show girls that, you know, they can do what they want to do. They can be aggressive and have just an encouragement from each other and just be each other's sisters and lift each other up. So it was amazing to see girls that could really take our instruction and apply it immediately. And there's some great talent out there. All they need is to just be nurtured.
Yeah, and you know, coming as it does, that basketball is not really amongst our top three sports. We're a cricket obsessing nation. I don't even know if you know what cricket is.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen it?
Yeah, the bowling. I don't know how to bowl yet. I'm working on it, but my arm doesn't quite go that way.
Kind of like pitching in baseball.
Exactly.
But given that, I think it's wonderful that NBA is trying to grow the sport here. How far has the NBA gone as far as that is concerned? What's the kind of traction you're seeing on the ground, Ebony?
I think that we're starting in the grassroots level, and we see the potential that India has with loving the game of basketball. There's so many fans, and there's a big fan base here for basketball. We just need to implement it more at the youth. So as long as we can try to get the ball in the kids' hands early age, then we feel like we can make a run for the top spot.
And you must be really excited about the NBA India Games, the first ever India Games. Can you give us a heads up on what we can expect from that?
I mean, you're going to see two exciting teams of the Sacramento Kings and the Indiana Pacers. Two exciting teams with some great young players. They've got Miles Turner on the Pacers side. They've got Victor Oladipo. And on the other side, they've got Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield, who are both dynamic and exciting players to see. So India is going to get a bird's eye view of just great basketball, high-flying action. And I'm telling you, it's going to be unmatched with any other sport.
How cool is that? But in that aspect, problems that young girls go through across the world are more or less the same. You know, mm-hmm. You're all kindred souls. When you were growing up as a kid in America trying to embrace basketball, I'm sure you can identify with a lot of these kids here in India. Some of them even underprivileged kids who are trying to take basketball as a professional sport.
Yeah. I mean, basketball, when I was growing up, it was frowned upon. It wasn't something that girls did. But my parents let me push the boundary and push the envelope and break that glass ceiling. So now we're just trying to show girls that there is no ceiling for them. They can reach the heights that they want to reach as long as they use hard work and their intellect to help them grow. And that class doesn't matter. Rich, poor, black, white, Indian, Asian, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, as long as you first have hard work, then you have the work ethic after that.
Ebony, let's go back through some highlights in your own career. I believe you played for the LA Sparks, the Los Angeles Sparks, and played very famously with Candace Parker. Mm-hmm. Just do a look back over your shoulder at those wonder days.
I mean, as I look back over my shoulder, I first got drafted in 2004 to the Indiana Fever, and I was there for 7 years, and I played with some dynamic and life-changing people, and Tamika Catchings, an Olympian, Tammy Sutton-Brown, a Canadian Olympian. I've played with so many great players, and then after that I went to Los Angeles Sparks to play with Candace Parker, Elena Beard, Tina Thompson, and Delisha Milton-Jones. Those people really shaped my worldview of how I was supposed to work, how to be a professional, and how to get the things that I wanted.
That's amazing. In 2008, it would have. In fact, I have to pause here and say that Tamika Catchings was on my show.
Yeah.
Sitting in the same chair as you, and I think that's quite a story. The way she's, molded her personality despite all the problems that she's had. I think that's very admirable, isn't it?
Yeah, she has bridged the gap between someone with a hearing deficit. even with that, like, you would never know that she had those type of issues. She talks about it readily, about how she has overcome and triumphed and had just so many great obstacles, but she also can tell them that, you can do it. The obstacles that are in front of you aren't finite.
Totally. Let's look at the year 2008. You were WNBA's most improved player of that year. You won an award. How was that particular season for you?
I mean, that particular season was magical. I remember all the hard work that I had set out to do, and that I was up early, late nights, the first one in the gym, the last one to leave, and that was the hard work that it took for the coaches to see that I was ready, that I deserved to have the ball in my hands, and it showed myself that I was confident now to do all the things that I knew I could do.
Super stuff. And wearing national colors is something totally different. I speak to Indian athletes all the time, people who've been in the Olympics and the Asian Games, and they've stood up on that podium and the national anthem is played. You get goosebumps.
Yeah.
And you had the good fortune of doing that. You won a gold playing for the U.S. team at the junior level. And would you tell us about the tournament and how it was winning it?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you put on your national colors and your national jersey, it's a sense of pride, because you're playing for more than yourself and your last name. You're playing for your country. And to have your country back you and to give you so much support, you have to give your all. Your country is believing in you to show the world that, we've backed this team, and we think that they can be great. So I love the U.S. and how they just they give the same amount of budget to the girls as they do to the guys, and that there's no difference or in between. So they really do lift us up, and we're all on the same podium.
And this apparently was the FIBA Americas Championship in Argentina.
Yeah.
I know this was a long time ago, but your memories of that particular tournament?
Yeah, I remember playing against Brazil in the final game, and that being one where everybody was extremely nervous, because being a U.S. team, you're not supposed to lose. You're supposed to win, and everybody expects that. So even if you're maybe at halftime, you're tied, you're not supposed to be tied. So, it just made us just realize, like, the great, the comfort that comes from being from that type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Pedigree, that type of pedigree, that we have to show up and stand out.
Ebony, you played forward, in the forward position for 10 years. And obviously basketball requires a totally different skill set. For all the young kids who are listening, what are the typical attributes to become a great basketball player? What would you like to tell kids out there?
You have to be ever learning. You're never going to know it all. And basketball and sport is an imperfect sport. All sports are imperfect. I think we get stuck in our head that we have to be perfect and precise, and the only way to be perfect is to practice. And even though you practice, you're still going to be imperfect. So just those lessons of just continue to let go of whatever happened in the moment and just to move on.
And how many hours a day would you have put in, when you reach the professional level?
Over 10,000 hours.
Wow.
Over 10,000 hours. That's what they say mastery comes to, right?
Yeah.
How did you get to your position of one of the top disc jockeys in India? 10,000 hours of doing your work, of research, of now the kids have YouTube and all of the social media enabled to them to learn all the different things they need to learn. So there's no excuse anymore to not know what you don't know. All you got to do is look it up.
And they say that in basketball, it's not so much strength training in the gym, because you've got to do short spurts. It's not about soccer like football where you run long distances or a marathon where it's attrition. You've got to be quick. So the exercise is needed. Obviously, a lot different from other sports.
Yeah, you definitely have to have good stamina. You have to work on your conditioning. It's not a walking man sport. We run. It's a contact sport, so yeah, you do need to get in the weight room a little bit, but I think you just need to be versatile and to be like a chameleon and not to be so stuck in your ways of what's going to be happening.
That's very beautifully put. And for somebody like you who's tall and big made as a forward, there must have been an inherent advantage. But Indian kids fundamentally are not that big made. Mm-hmm. What would you like to say about size and basketball?
I think size in basketball doesn't matter. It's all about your heart. And I know that's a little cliche that people say it all the time, but it's real. Well, once it gets down to the fourth quarter, what separates one from the other? No longer skills are no longer the exception. Now it's your brain. Now it's your heart. Now it's who's going to want it more, who's going to fight harder, because everybody is tired. Everybody's at the same level. So it just comes down to your heart and who wants it more. So I really believe that is one aspect that will separate one from the other. Who's going to give up and who's not.
Ebony, a player that you've grown up idolizing, somebody you said, wow, he or she is just amazing. Who would that be? And what are the qualities that made him or her, heroic?
I think first, getting into basketball, it was Magic Johnson. My dad had me in front of the television watching Magic or going to the Laker games. And then as a girl, it was Cheryl Miller and Tina Thompson. Cheryl Miller was the first lady that I saw that would play against the guys and really had them really upset that she just beat them. So Tina Thompson revolutionized the forward spot to me because she started shooting three-pointers. And normally, forwards didn't do that. They stayed in the paint, and they shot layups, or they did post moves. So I think those two players really revolutionized the game for me, just to see from a different perspective that you don't have to be in a box or put yourself in a box, that you can be a well-rounded player. You can dribble the ball. And by the end of my career, I was no longer a forward. I was on the wing playing the guard position. So you just have to be all-encompassing and just evolve your game all the time.
And Ebony, a sports person from another sport. I mean, it could be a swimmer, could be a baseball player, could be an athlete that you've really admired. And what would those qualities be?
Oh.
Like if you ask me, I love Roger Federer. I just like his calm composure and the way he goes about his business.
Yeah.
So would there be a player like that?
I mean, Serena Williams is someone who looks like me, who comes from the same background as me, and who's fierce and competitive, and is a mom, and is married, and is a businesswoman. So that they're not just an athlete, and that's what we do, but it's not who we are.
Now, I know it's a little difficult because normally you would choose only the teams that you've played for out of patriotism and feeling. But a team that, you've watched playing, like you said, when you were a kid, you went to see Lakers games and you must have marveled at the way they played. A team that you really hoped you were a part of, which team would that be? At the top of their powers.
Oh, at the top of their powers. Oh, man. The Houston Comets for a WNBA team. They won 4 championships, right? Like, who doesn't want to be a part of winning 4 national championships? And then I love the Chicago Bulls. I was a Jordan fanatic. Being from LA, that's a no-no, right? Like, it's not supposed to happen. So, just seeing how MJ just was a leader and he led by example, and how he treated his teammates. Although he was stern and tough, they knew that he was going to bring it every single day.
My last question has got to be, what's on your phone? What do you listen to? What kind of music are you into?
Ooh, I'm 37 years old, so I'm supposed to be listening to, the new hip-hop. But I'm old school. I like jazz and blues. And right now, I do have a little Beyonce in there, a lot of Rihanna. But yeah, I like Bobby Blue Band and, B.B. King. And I actually listen to some country now because I played in Indiana. So a lot of people, when they see me, they're like, you're listening to, George Strait? Like, why would you do that? But, it calms me down. Like, I'm not banging my head up against a wall or wanting to foul somebody when I'm out there on the court. I just like to be mellow.
Listen, this has been special. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your time in India, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.